I think we're here. Hello out there. Welcome to Purple Figs, and hello to you too, Kim.
Hello to you, Jason. Here we are in their famous award-winning gallery here at Cotuit Center for the Arts for our first exhibit of 2023 and our first Purple Figs of 2023.
And Kim, I can't quite tell. What's the theme of the exhibit? What's its title?
This exhibit is called Bookmarks, and it is art inspired by literature, and you really have got to come down here and see this exhibit. We have every medium represented. We have beautiful, not only art, but some quotes on the walls that come from famous books. This has been an exquisite exhibit. We've sold pieces already. And I'm so proud to say that we have got a number of tours set up of school children, which is our focus for this exhibit, but also book groups, etc.
And speaking of exquisite, since you gave me that segue, we also have activities for everyone to do. We have scavenger hunts. There's a bookmark making station at the end of the exhibit, and just outside my office here, a book for you to take part in an exquisite corpse story that we're writing. One sentence at a time, everyone's contributing, and I love heading out there and checking out where we've gone. It's been the forest of the elves, and then ospreys on the beach, and all sorts of adventures it's gone on so far. So I can't wait to see where we finally end up with that tale. Michelle has really done an incredible job of creating not just a wonderful space to come and experience art, but also to participate, to make it yourself.
Yes, this interactive nature is something that Michelle's been just specializing in such for such a long time, and people just love it because typically you come to an exhibit and you don't touch things. It's not the nature of the exhibit to touch the art. So to have something you can do and make and really participate in, whether you're an artist or not, is really, I think, what people are looking for.
Yeah, and I suppose we shouldn't beat around the bush too long. Speaking of Michelle Law, our gallery specialist and curator here at the center, she's also an artist herself and has created the work that I wrote my poem for Purple Figs based on. I think Kim's had a chance to read it, and she's certainly seen the work itself. And I'll show you an image in a second here. So, Kim, I think without any further ado, why don't I pull it up and read what we're starting with?
Yes, and just to let people know, if you aren't familiar with Purple Figs, this is our poetry inspired by art podcast, if you will. We love doing this video. This is an ancient poetic form where we take work that are currently on the walls here and we write poems to and then record them and talk about them and just hopefully get you inspired to come down and view it or even try this on your own.
Thank you. It's been so long since we recorded one. I totally forgot to mention what it is we're doing here, and what we're engaging in. We certainly, Kim and I, certainly everyone at Cotuit Center for the Arts believes that art is generative. It makes more art, and so we're so excited to be taking part in a tradition so old and still so pleasurable and wonderful to do to this day. So, I guess. Let me see. Without any further ado, I'll pull up the poem here. The poem is titled New Year. It's inspired by the piece Brave by Michelle Law. You opened your eyes and saw nothing. The streets had new names, and you'd hardly known the old ones. Your friends weren't here anymore, and you didn't know where they'd gone. One job was much like the next, and all of them exhausting. You tried every restaurant around, and none were as good as they used to be. The local theaters all put on the same few plays, and your dreams were no longer monotonous. They barely were at all. Others' words ringed in your ears as you stared at the white ceiling. The time is just right. You'd give all this up? I wish I had your courage. That's fine for you, but I would never. What a dark fate awaits you in the wood. Still, this morning you grabbed everything you thought you needed. The red coat that had belonged to someone in your family, the shoes sturdy enough, you supposed, the basket, which I guess was all you had to hold things, the breads, hopefully enough to sustain you. It hasn't been easy to make your intentions known. I heard you had a bitter fight with your mother, who never really understood you anyway. Your father was, as ever, barely there. But now you've told everyone you're going to tell. The water and fuel have been shut off. Your dog will be perfectly happy wherever she's gone. Now there's nothing left for you to do but leave. You're going where I cannot follow. Will you take at least these gifts with you then, to remember that you had a home? These rocks to remind you where you came from. Gathered from the riverbed, you remember. Though dull, they shine with memory. This gadget to solve the challenge ahead. You'll think you need it 3 times, but it won't do what you want it to do. When you have no other options, you'll realize its potential. This photograph to prove you are who you are. When you forget who you are in the wood, you'll look at it and know you meant something to someone, and they knew you as poorly as you knew yourself. But that's identity. These maps for when you get lost, and when you stray from the path, and when the darkness surrounds you, and when the growl grows thick and heavy, and when your hunger beckons you to the forest floor, you can look back and know your mistake. And these words that I say to you now, that nobody else will hear, that you may share as you like, that you may hold one way to the light and another, that you may misremember eventually, that others may speculate about if they saw me whisper in your ear that day, that you may one day take out of your basket and remember what you left behind.
Wow. I got such chills at that growl point again. I told Jason earlier, there's so much to love about this poem, and I just want to say to everyone out there, you're probably going to ask what I'm going to ask, which is, how does this happen? How do you look at a piece of art and then come up with words? Because you're not describing as much as you are feeling. And, tell us a little bit about what inspired you about Michelle's piece.
Yeah, I've put it on the screen here above us. She put it on an industrial spool, and it's made with colored pencils and paper. And on the tours we've done so far, the kids all know this is Little Red Riding Hood, right? About to head into the woods. So the two things that struck me from the moment she brought it in, the woods themselves, they've got that sort of foreground light and that dark background, and the way the drawing spools around, it's just that eternal mystery of what comes next.
Yes.
And when I look at Red here, all I can think is, but what does she have to lose? There's nothing around her, whether it's fear or potential or the wolf in the woods. She has nothing behind her and everything ahead of her. And it's dark and it's scary and it's also light and it's exciting. And I was just so struck by the negative space at the beginning here, and the idea that even though she has no way of knowing what's ahead of her in the woods, it's very clear to me looking at her, she's going anyway.
And I loved what you said to me earlier about when you were discussing this with some of the students on the tour, and you asked if it was scary, and some of them said, yes, the woods are scary. No, the woods are wonderful. And, just that idea of how we each have a different perspective of looking at the exact same thing.
The kids have been so great about this, and this was one of their favorite pieces. And the way they talk about it, the way they say, no, of course it's bad. The wolf is in there. Oh, but Granny's house is in there.
Oh, yeah.
They're right. They're all right. And it's so exciting to be able to have that experience with them and explain, yes, to all of you, to all of this experience. And the poem itself is sort of inspired by that perspective because, you can check the link to see it written out if you missed it earlier. But at the end of a year, you have so much baggage, right? And slowly, as you make your way into the new year, you let that go. But then you build up again, and the poem does. The stanzas get smaller and smaller, and then start to build up again as you continue that process of giving up and taking. And whether that's a good process, whether that's, oh my God, 2022 was such a pain for me, I can't wait to get rid of that, or whether it was, oh, I made the best friends of my life in that year, and now they're moving on, and I have to move on as well. I hope you have that same, sense of your own perspective. dipping into the poem and to brave this piece. It's right outside my office. I get to pass it every day, and I just adore it. It's so wonderful.
Well, this is signature work for Michelle. She does these scrolls, and I've written to another one that she did, and I'm fascinated by them because the whole idea of the unfolding is a poem in itself, and
Hmm.
just the idea of life unfolding and what is beyond the scroll and what is behind us. And it's not lost on the viewer at all. That creates something different than just that same piece on a flat canvas, without that beginning and end. um, where you've been and where you're going is just so wonderful. And what I love, Jason, is that you've written a poem that everyone can see themselves in at some point in that poem, if not the whole poem. Of one of the things that we do when we write ekphrasis is, we try to honor the artwork, but we also try to write something that can sometimes stand apart from the artwork as well, so that it tells a story or it expresses feelings. And it does, to do both is just remarkable, and this is a remarkable piece.
Thank you so much, Kim. You and I doing ekphrasis. I love when the act of reading the poem is like you're standing in front of the artwork itself.
Yeah.
But for me, with this piece, I went home with it. You know what I mean? I took that feeling of it home with me, and it sort of insisted, to be the poem it is. And it was just such a pleasure to make it. I think of the challenge for you and me next is to find a way to write a poem that obscures its own end,
Yes.
like hers
Right.
does. I would be so fascinated to see what that is like.
Sure.
Um, so
And
I
I'm going
think.
to just turn us around here a little bit,
Oh
and
yes, please.
while you're
Yeah,
finishing up, and show
the camera
show
here.
folks some of this artwork here, which is so amazing. So this is the beginning of this exhibit and this gorgeous piece, and there are words everywhere, which could not make me happier. In artwork, which could not make me happier. We have stained glass. We have a little bit of everything. So I just give you a little
Yeah, some
flavor.
charcoals and acrylic. We've got all sorts of things made from books, actually constructed with pages and book ash, even. Lots of things to sort of see different perspectives on. And as always, the more variety than you could ever ask for. There's portraiture and abstracts. There's things made with atlases, which was a fun thing to teach the kids about, a book
Yes,
with maps in it. Here, just our friends down the road at Isaiah
yes,
Thomas,
yes,
in a beautiful piece. Can you look at the edges of that piece? Show
yes.
those
Look at
off.
this.
The entire frame is painted to look like a book. It's just a gorgeous piece. Um,
And all of these hung at the height for children so that
yeah,
they are not staring up. They're pretty much looking right at it, just the way I am at their height.
yep. That photograph by Rick Sharp. Rick was helped me on the last tour we did. We actually have the artists. We try to always have an artist on these tours who can speak to who's ever coming in, tell them about their process, tell them about their inspiration. So the kids especially get to see working artists and meet them and imagine being them. And you may be hearing behind me, this is still a working theater, and we have a show coming up, so there may be
Yes.
sounds of construction behind me. Yeah, a stained glass amalgamation there. That's just incredible. Um, like I said, some really fine portraiture work, tearing up of the book pages. Here's another piece actually made from books, from the pages of books. You can see the writing showing through the design beyond it. Just a gorgeous, exquisite thing, and the way the shadows of it play behind it is just marvelous.
Beautiful. Anyway, get yourselves down here because this is a very unique exhibit. You're not going to find this everywhere. And we have so many more exhibits coming this year. Come down, enter our open juried exhibits as well. And we have some wonderful full-time artists coming to our walls very soon.
Yeah, and certainly you'll be hearing more from Kim and I. We are so excited for this year, what we have to present to you. And of course, we're excited to write. We love the arts, and love to show them off. So I think that's going to do it for us today, Kim. Did you have anything else you wanted to say to
No,
our friends?
happy purple figs. We'll let people sit with why it's called purple figs and wonder, because maybe you'll come back next time and we'll tell you.
That's a promise. We will tell you next time. And we hope to see you then. Bye now, everyone.
Bye bye now.